All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Seattle Wow, people just sort of sleep in random places. You gotta watch the movie Soylent Green. I know you already know the spoiler, but watch Soylent Green. It's one of those movies where you're like, God, how did they know that was coming? But anyway, this is what, day 445 of the Seattle Pandemonium Shutdown. And oh goodness gracious. I know I sometimes talk about the local situation because, you know, here I am. I'm in a major American city. I'm on the West Coast. We're in a tight spot. And we're in a unique spot. If you're in, Fargo, North Dakota, your situation is just not going to be like this. But, okay, thanks, buddy. You know what you're doing. All right. We still are, we're pussyfooting around because of Inslee about, Governor Inslee about reopening and what we're doing, and you have to wear a mask and you have to have a vax passport. God, I hate your guts. Speed up. My goodness. A vax passport to go to work and all this other nonsense. I have my opinions about it, but I don't want to get a third strike. I will get a third strike on my channel in like a week. So, and then that will be it. It'll be over. I'll have to, I don't know, upload my videos somewhere else. If you want to see any of them, I will have to like completely switch platforms. I don't know. So what's going on though? What's going down at the national level? We've got the Biden administration trying to get this David Chipman guy through the congressional nomination approval process for being the head of the BATF. That's the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Everybody's favorite alphabet agency. Now, ghoulish memes aside, this Chipman fella was on the ground at Waco. You remember Waco. I've talked about it on this very program. And there are pictures of him standing on the rubble of the Branch Davidian compound, holding a rifle. And this guy also wants to regulate. Imagine this. The head of the agency that regulates firearms wants to regulate more firearms. Can you believe that? That's crazy. You mean this guy wants to make more work for himself? That's weird. That's really weird, man. Why would he want to do that? Why would he take issue with assault weapons? Well, they need to be regulated, and he's the guy that you need to hire to regulate the thing he's telling you as a subject matter expert is the thing that needs to be regulated. That's really weird, isn't it? This is kind of a weird coincidence. Ugh. These people think you're stupid. Okay? And unfortunately, some portion of you are. Some portion of you are stupid. That's why this is happening. Or you're uncertain. So let me disabuse you of your uncertainty. Okay? They want to regulate firearms in order to, accomplish multiple things. One, to make you passive, to remove the threat of backlash to them should you really decide to give up and just say, you know what, F this, F voting, F this whole thing, like our founding fathers did. And two, to make you more dependent. Oh, God. The thing I said was going to happen is happening. Yeah, now you need to get in that lane so that you can get over to the tunnel, but you can't because all those people in that lane. Okay, go. Go. Oh, no. Yeah, and unfortunately, all of you are in my way, but okay. But no, also, they want you dependent upon the state for your own security. Or, and this is the thing. Or, their friends, crony capitalist, regulators and what have you, they will set regulation. Like, look, this is probably more like what's going to happen, okay? They're going to set regulation for private security. And this private security, they'll be armed, unarmed, semi-armed. But there will be requirements that they have to, okay, go ahead like you didn't see what was coming. There you go. Don't worry. I'll take care of you. And then certain companies will get very, very wealthy running these security firms that work in tandem with the government. Oh, yeah, and you're driving a BMW. That, I don't, you shouldn't have let that person in. They need to sit there on the side of the road and think about what they've done if they're driving a BMW and they ended up in that situation. Sorry, not sorry. But no, they want you dependent upon the state monopoly on power or the quote-unquote free market created monopolies that they will create, and you will then be dependent upon them. And it is, it's really something. It's really something to watch because people, I say people, like, liberals, really. I mean, it's not even leftists. Like, again, like Marxists and stuff, they want the proletariat to be armed. Like, we're not even talking about, like, anarchists want people to be armed. To protect themselves, to take the responsibility for your own protection into your own, wheelhouse. You start outsourcing it to another company, a government. You start sacrificing personal sovereignty to these other entities. Well, we're in a situation where our federal government is playing games with our ability to take ownership over our own sovereignty. I mean, the food pyramid, okay, not to totally go off the rails, the food pyramid was a suggested guideline for what you should eat. Grains and cheese and bread and meat and dairy and all this, and they arranged it. This was taught to us in school, in public school. Here's the food pyramid. This is like you should eat these portions of these foods and not eat too much of these other foods. And then we come to find out that like that food pyramid was basically like big agro food production propaganda. Like you should not be eating what they told us you should be eating. So imagine that same concept, but guns. That same concept, but, clothes. Like, this is not a small deal, guys. Like, I hope that there are some, like, liberals or progressives or Democrats or whatever who find their way to my content and listen long enough for me to say this. It's like, you guys don't understand what you're doing. You think you're keeping people safe by arguing for banning certain guns. It's not all the guns, it's just certain guns. Every gun is the same thing. You don't understand what you're doing. And what you're arguing for is, well, let's make people safe by restricting our constitutional rights. Okay, people say mean things and bully each other into self-harm on the internet. Therefore, we should amend our First Amendment to exclude certain kinds of speech. Speech XYZ. Which speech? I don't know. Our same government that can't keep drugs out of America, can't keep drugs out of prison, can't fix poverty, but has been at war with both for like half a century, is going to somehow fix online bullying. They're going to somehow fix gun violence. They're going to somehow fix drug abuse and poverty. They can't do any of these things. What happens? They use these things as an excuse to exploit the citizenry. You own that drug, you're going in jail. You own that gun, you're now taxed for it. You can't afford the tax, you can't have it. You're not allowed to have it, we will arrest you. You don't want to get arrested because we're doing a thing that violates your Second Amendment rights? We will burn your house down with you inside of it. That is what is happening. Like, I can't express this enough. Like, this is why I swear I'm still a liberal, guys. It's y'all that became not liberal. Like, this is our individual rights being chipped away, and you're allowing it because you frame it as, well, these, like, dumb, ignorant right-wingers just care about their guns and God, and they don't care about anything. I'm an atheist, man. I don't believe in the rapture. I don't believe in any of this stuff. I'm not even sure God's judging us right now. What I'm talking about is our government right now being empowered by you to grant itself permission to infringe on your rights, and you will applaud it as it happens because, I don't know, you live in fear? You're terrified of gun crimes that aren't happening to you? They aren't happening to you. They probably aren't happening anywhere near you. And the people who are committing the crimes against each other with guns, it's wildly like, it's like bee attacks. Right? It's like lightning strikes. Lightning can strike, and there's a bunch of people lined up against a fence. This actually happened. A bunch of people next to a chain link fence, they get struck by lightning, and like 30 people got struck by lightning. That will happen from time to time. Much the same as there will be a mass shooter. There's other times where somebody just shoots somebody else, but you're much more likely to be killed by fists and feet, blunt objects, etc., and car accidents, and all kinds of other things other than gun violence, even these mass shootings that the government constantly, seizes upon in order to, again, justify itself, granting itself permission to infringe on your rights. And I watched this happen after 9/11. We said, we need sweeping collaboration between the FBI, CIA, other intelligence agencies to monitor, terrorist activity. And what did they do? Immediately started using it for domestic law enforcement purposes. Drugs. All these arrests for drugs. How many for terrorism? Almost none, if I remember correctly. So again, this Chipman guy, he believes we should regulate assault weapons, and Ted Cruz, bless his heart, was taking him to task about his definition of assault weapons. Do you have a functional definition of assault weapon, listener? Do you know what an assault weapon is, or what it is that people mean when they're saying that? The pro-gun people, anti-gun people, do you know what an assault weapon is? As opposed to just a rifle. How about a battle rifle? So these words mean things, and the media allows people to get away with making these terms ambiguous. They allow them to get away with making them seem confusing when they aren't, or confusing them when they might be. Like, they might be confusing, but the media allows them to be confusing when it's convenient to them. But This Chipman guy should not be the head of the ATF. He simply should not be. He's vague about what his definition of an assault weapon is, which is something like a rifle with a detachable magazine. Okay, like that's every rifle made after 1943, I think. Like every rifle the U.S. government has ever issued for our military is a detachable magazine in a higher caliber than .22. Like, there's no, like, that's and then by extension, every handgun is a detachable magazine handgun since the Browning 1911. Google it, kids. There's no way to regulate this without, again, a crazy authoritarian police state dystopia that I can't even imagine the human or financial cost of. I can't imagine it. Like, I could say it'll cost us half a $1 trillion, $500 billion in extra policing, regulation, inspectors to go into all the gun shops, to shut gun shops down. There will be people who will just straight up fight back, and you're going to have to eat the literal human cost of people not wanting to comply with these laws. You'll have legal battles. There's states that won't comply. Texas won't comply. Like, it's a complete nightmare, and it will set us at war with ourselves for literally no reason. For no reason other than our federal government, under Democratic leadership, wants to grant itself more power and authority and more monopoly over the use of force. And then again, libs will applaud this as progressive or something. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, this is awful. This is the police state that you argued Trump was trying to do. This is destroying our democracy the way you said Trump was destroying our democracy for the last half a decade. It's fascinating to watch. If it weren't so terrifying, and then here I am in this blue, complete, shit lib zone where they tax ammunition like that's gonna do something. I get her sticker on her thing. It's F it. You see, the stick figure is humping the it, so that just means F it. Yakima Nation. Oh, okay. She's some kind of. She doesn't look like a native. Maybe she's native. I don't know. Okay, gun rant over again. I guess. It's Wednesday. Things are about to change up, guys. We'll see what I can do for you. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.